Hello everyone, my name is Mariam Mokhtar. Welcome back to my channel. Do we really have many illegal temples in Malaysia? Are the local councils allowing temples to sprout up like mushrooms where you live? I think not. Perhaps there is another reason for the existence of these so-called illegal temples. Ask yourself this: how do these temples acquire illegal status? Many of these temples were in existence long before Merdeka, and some were built over 100 years ago. Now, the latest controversy about temples was on the 14th of April, when the management of the Taiping Hospital responded to a complaint about a place of worship located on its premises. In an official reply, which was given the title Aduan Kuil Haram, haram or illegal is a very offensive word, the Deputy Director of the Taiping Hospital, Arni Nadira Abdul Hadi, said that appropriate legal action would be taken. The term illegal, which was used to describe the status of the temple, had upset the Deputy President of MIC, M. Saravanan. He wrote to the Prime Minister, Anwar Ibrahim, urging him to direct all government agencies and departments to cease using the term Kuil Haram, illegal temples. But think about this, yeah? Will banning mere words resolve the temple issue? I think not. However, the Madani administration needs to show clear and strong leadership and be more proactive to tackle the Indian temple problem. Right now, all that the PM is doing is to appease the Malays. He exhibits a failure of leadership in a multicultural nation. Many of these temples, which irresponsible or ignorant people casually claim illegal, they were built decades before the enactment of the National Land Code in 1965. These houses of worship have both a historical and cultural significance. The temple issue has its roots in British colonial Malaya. The Malays benefited from colonial patronage. The Chinese had their business and social networks, whilst the Indians were treated as a source of cheap labor in plantations and in construction, in particular the building of roads, railways, and ports. The temples provided the Indian workforce with a focal point for their community. The temples also satisfied their spiritual needs and social milestones like weddings and funerals. Some Malaysians think that these illegal temples sprout like mushrooms all over the place because of poor enforcement. They are wrong. The temple issue is big news now only because previous governments, successive governments, refused to manage the Indian temple problem. Those of you who were under the impression that there were far too many so-called illegal temples in Malaysia should appreciate that the Indians made an enormous contribution for helping to lay the foundations of the economic powerhouse of early modern Malaya. Now, without the Indian contribution, the infrastructure of early Malaya, as well as the success of the rubber estates, would have been significantly reduced. So how did it get to the stage where the temples were deemed illegal? They are described as illegal only inasmuch as the land on which these temples were built does not belong to the temple. Now, after the race riots of 1969, the ensuing Bumiputra politics placed Indians at a severe disadvantage both in education and work opportunities. In 1971, the new economic policy, the NEP, was formulated to correct the Malay imbalance in the economy So when British-owned corporations were taken over by government-linked companies, the GLCs, like Pernas and Permodalan Nasional Berhad, or PNB, again, the Indians were largely ignored. And then in the 1980s, the former Prime Minister, Dr. Mahathir Mohamad, he was keen to industrialize Malaysia and further enhance the affirmative action policies. However, he also failed to make any provision for the Indians. And so when rubber plantations were converted into housing and industrial estates and also golf courses, these displaced Indian estate workers who then drifted to urban areas to form Indian ghettos, which then became hotbeds of crime. Now, one example of forced displacement of the Indians happened in the estates that were acquired by the government to build Putrajaya. So I'm giving you one example. Putrajaya, the administrative capital of Malaysia. The new capital was carved out of land which was formerly, I think, the Raja Alang estate, the Prang Besar estate, the Galloway estate, and also Bukit Prang estate. The takeover by Putrajaya development failed to include any plans to help the Indian estate workers, thus ending their livelihoods and destroying their homes. The workers were invited to resettle in very low quality flats, I think allegedly in Dengkil. However, many refused to go to be resettled there. Now, decades later, including today, the Indian community still bear the consequences of this displacement. In 2011, the then MIC Deputy President, Dr. S. Subramaniam, he claimed that 45% of the country's crimes involved Indians. It wasn't just the high crime rate amongst Indians that needed a solution, because many Indians do not possess birth certificates nor identity cards, and they were stateless. Many Tamil schools were in a deplorable state, sited on illegal land, and they also lacked funding. Several Hindu temples were also sited on land whose owners did not have a land title. Indians are continually let down by our politicians, who use them as a political football for their own means and to fulfill their own selfish agendas. The Indian temple issue is a Malaysian problem which affects all communities in present-day Malaysia, because previous administrations failed in their duty of care towards the marginalized Indian community. And so, will the Madani administration help the Indians today? Thank you for listening. Speak to you soon. If you like my videos, please press like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Please also visit my Patreon channel if you wish to sponsor me. Thank you.